You know, this isn't an easy task, especially if we are, you know, at home. Sometimes there are benefits to being at home and having a practice. Sometimes it's a little bit more distracting, you know, because we can wander around and we're all zoomed out at this point. But take this, you know, just trust your ears, listen to my voice through this class, and use this next hour to try to stay as present on your mat as possible. Whatever it is that happened before you got to the mat this morning, you know, it'll be waiting for you when you're done. If your to-do lists pop up and things like that, you know, what I like to do is actually visually just kind of shove all of that stuff in a box and put it up on the shelf and know that it's waiting there for me if I need it later. But this hour is about you, and it's about decompression. And just a little note about our yoga practice and our postures, which are called asanas. The asana is the method, the postures are the method that releases us from past conditioning that's stored in the body so we can arrive in the present moment. It is to be noted that practicing forcefully will only superimpose a new layer of bad habits or imprints that are based on suffering and pain. It will also increase identification with the body. In yoga, identification with anything that is impermanent is called avidya or ignorance. What we're trying to do is realize that the only moment that exists is right now. If we think about the past, that brings us into, you know, regret, depression, sadness, grief. When we're thinking about the future, that brings anxiety, fear, the things that don't even exist yet. So we do our best, as fleeting as it feels, even if it's just for a few moments here and there, to be mindful and present in the only moment that really does exist, which is right now. The breath is the fastest way to get us there. What I want you to start doing is on your next inhale, expand the belly. So breathe in through the belly first, and then carry that inhale up to the chest. So fill the lungs, and then exhale, everything just collapses together. Inhale, belly, chest, exhale. Keep doing this. The belly doesn't have to inflate too much, but the lungs are huge. They're huge. So try to get the lungs filled all the way up to the collarbones. Good. And then as you exhale, just feel the navel drop to the back of the body. Just completely empty the lungs. We're going to do this for a few more rounds. And so today for your practice, try to stay in the present moment by using the breath. And then also know that being attached to the way you think your practice should be is not yoga. Okay, just let it be what it is. On your next exhale, bring your hands down by your knees if your knees are apart, and bring them back together. We're going to bring the knees up to the chest one at a time and rock left to right. Keep the belly soft so you can squish the lower back muscles, rocking back and forth. And we're going to come into a twist here. So slow down your rocking, drop your feet back down to the mat, and shift your hips to the left. Just move them to the left as far as you can. And then you're going to drop your knees to the right. So what we're trying to do here is just stack the hips as much as possible and then extend the arms out like a T. Even if your left shoulder doesn't come all the way to the ground, just try to keep it heavy and soft. And as long as you're not feeling any numbing or tingling there, you'll be okay. You're gonna breathe here. That same slow, steady breath that we were just practicing. On your next exhale, we're gonna bring the knees back up to the ceiling, towards the ceiling, moving nice and slowly. We're not in a hurry. Coming out of poses is just as important as how we go into them. So mindfully, slowly, bring your hips back to the center and now shift them to the right as far as you can. Drop your knees to the left. And so you might notice, differences in the arms and the chest, the pectoral muscles. For me personally, my right side is, the whole right side of my body is tighter than the left. So I feel more of a lengthening on this side. These are just things to observe about your body for awareness. On your next exhale, you're going to bring your knees back up towards the ceiling. An interesting thought here, just a side note. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Thinking about the comment I just made about the right side of my body being tighter than the left, these are things to explore eventually, right? Like, when you go deeper into yoga, you see, or you learn, like, one side of my body has to do with my relationship with my father. The other side of my body has to do with like the relationship with my mother, like that moon and sun thing and all of that stuff. So these are things we eventually explore. Bring your left ankle to your right above your right knee or right thigh. We're gonna interlace the fingers behind the right leg and then draw the right knee towards the body. So just a pigeon pose here, supine pigeon. Keep the feet flexed. We want to protect the knee joints here. And if you're good here, just stay and breathe. If you've been doing this pose for a little while, I want you to, do a small shift of your left knee moving away from you and then releasing your tailbone towards the floor. It's going to get deeper into the belly of the leg muscle. One more breath here. And then bring both feet back to the mat. We'll do the other side. Right ankle to the left thigh, interlace. Oh, like I said, the side of my body is always tighter. I can barely interlace my fingers. And that, if you can use a towel or a strap or something like that, or just do the best you can. Sometimes being right here is enough of a stretch with your feet down. If I'm ever asking you to do anything that your body's not wanting to do yet, then you just don't do it. And it's okay. You're still doing a yoga practice. Listening to that is actually yoga. Find your breath here. One more. Release. Bring both feet down to the mat. Good. All right. So we're going to straighten the left leg. We're going to bring the right knee, just the right knee, up towards the chest. So grab it with both of your hands. And even if you feel kind of stuck in the hip crease, that's okay. Just come up as high as you can. We're gonna open up the hip here. What I want you to do is take your left arm out to the side. And then we're just gonna take the right knee and open it out to the right. Just go as far as you can. Yep, try to keep your heel closer to your body, to your butt. Yeah, then you don't have to use as much muscular action. But the left leg, I want you to keep that active. So the toes are up towards the ceiling. And then find your breath. Soften the throat, the jaw. On your next exhale, we're bringing the knee back and then straightening the leg. Be very deliberate with your movements. Bring the knee close to the body first, hug. So we're on the left leg, the right leg is straight, and the right toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Extend the right arm. And then bring your left knee out to the left. Keep the foot flexed. Next exhale, bring the knee back to center. We're gonna grab the other knee and then just hold on to the knees and draw circles on the ceiling with your knees. So you're just rotating the hips. We're gonna go clockwise and then counterclockwise, or whatever direction you started with, just do the other direction. And then slow down to a stop. Bring your feet to the floor. Roll onto your right side to get up. Use the strength of your arms to sit up. This is going to protect your lower back, whether you're getting off the floor, getting out of bed. Always roll to your side first. Feels good, right? And you smell good. Yeah, you like smell your body spray or something. Well, you smell good. All right. There you go. Legs are crossed. We're going to take the right fingertips to the floor. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale, lean to the right. And take a couple of breaths here. Be sure that you're not facing down towards the floor. We're always trying to open up the chest. And then bring the left hand down. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, lean to the left. Bring that arm down. Inhale both arms up. Rotate to the right, and then exhale, bring the hands down. So just a small twist here. Inhale the arms up. Rotate to the left. Exhale down. Now that you got it, we're going to go just a little bit quicker, but still with the breath. Inhale up. Rotate to the right. Exhale down. Last time. Inhale up. Rotate to the left. Exhale down. Keep your right hand over here so you can grab the left knee, and we're going to stay in this twist. Your left fingertips will be behind you, supporting you. Inhale, get tall through the crown of the head. So it's like somebody's pulling a string through the top of your head. And then exhale, come into this more supported twist and let your left shoulder rotate back. Exhale, come back to center. Take your left hand to the right knee, right fingertips support behind you. And so something very important here, since this is a begin class, our rotation of the spine does not come from the lower back. The lumbar spine, which is down there, and the SI joints can get really aggravated, and then you have like all kinds of problems. So most of your twisting comes from the middle of the back, which is by the ribs, the thoracic spine. We always lengthen first. So inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, rotate to the right. It's very easy to want to press that left sitting bone to the mat and rotate from the bottom up. Let this, let the SI joints do whatever the heck they want, because we want to keep them happy. The mobility of the twist comes from the middle of the back, most of the rotation. And exhale, come back to center. All right, bring the legs out in front of you. Oof. I practiced with my teacher yesterday morning. 3 a.m. is when I have to take his classes. Ugh. First of all, bleh to that, but I do it anyways because, you know, I have to stay a student. But man, just bringing my legs out here like this, my hamstrings are like, bleh. All right, bend the right knee. Bring it out to the side. When we're doing any forward folds, it's important to either put something underneath your sitting bones if your back is feeling compressed, or if you're tucked. You're sitting up pretty good. We want to try to keep the pelvis as neutral as possible or even tilting forward a little bit. And that can be hard to do in the beginning, especially with tight hamstrings. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, just start to walk your fingers on either side of the leg. We don't want to round the back right now. We're just keeping a nice straight spine and working our shoulder blades towards each other. Another thing that's going to help with your forward folds is keeping the antagonist muscle, which is like right now my quadriceps. The top of the leg has to be strong in order to give the message to my hamstrings to let go. There needs to be some sort of other opposite support there, right? So we keep the foot flexed in order to make that happen. See if you can walk the fingertips maybe a little bit further. Even when the back does start to come into flexion or round a little bit, the shoulder blades are still, you know, working towards each other. They're not separating. Inhale to look up, and then exhale, just release. Walk the fingers back. Yeah. Bring the right knee in, straighten it, close the knee joint first, and then drop it out to the side. Get the skin away from your sitting bone, get nice and grounded. Flex the right foot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk the fingertips, shoulders back, and breathe. Send your breath to those tight areas. Give them permission to let go. Maybe go a little bit further or stay where you are. Inhale, come all the way up. Walk the hands towards the body. Woo, bring the bottoms of the feet together. Come into our cobbler's pose. You're gonna grab onto the ankles for stability. I know we have this habit, and you know, gym teachers or whatever, I mean, it's not a bad thing, you know, but we're trying to get the heels close to the body and we wanna support the hips. So we grab onto the bigger joint for stability. We are gonna round the back here. Inhale, lengthen through the top of the head. And then as you exhale, push the belly in, push everything towards the spine and drop the top of the head towards the feet. Let your elbows push your legs open. I'm just separating the vertebrae here. Let the head dangle and breathe. Inhale, come all the way up. Use your hands as you exhale to bring your knees together. We're gonna come onto our hands and knees and go into a child's pose. So big toes touch, knees go to the edges of the mat, and then you sit back on your heels. Walking your hands forward, we wanna try to bring the forehead to the mat, but if that doesn't happen, you can use your fists to stack and support the head. If you're able to extend the arms, do that. And so here we're gonna breathe. We're gonna become aware of the parts of the body that are tight. Maybe you feel it in the hips, the feet. You're just gonna notice those things and then you're gonna breathe. We're going to take 3 more breaths here in child's pose. This is the pose you can fall back into at any time. Inhale, lift the head. Start to walk the hands towards the body just to lift a little bit, or bring your palms to the mat if your fists were stacked. Walk your hands to the right as far as they'll go, and then soften down towards the floor. We're going to open up the left side of the body and get into the lower quadrants of the back. And you guessed it, breathe. Inhale, lift the head. Walk your hands to the left. Move slowly. You're manipulating your spine in lots of different directions here, or as many directions as they'll go. It's not like your spine goes more than like 4 directions, but you know what I mean. Soften towards the floor and breathe. Inhale, lift. Exhale, walk your hands back to center. And then we're gonna walk our hands forward and lift the bum off of the heels. So we're coming into puppy here. Now this can feel a little bit awkward, but what you're trying to do is make your, put your spine in traction. So if you can bring your chin to the floor, do that. Otherwise, you're just gonna kind of stay on your forearms and just lengthen through the tailbone. This is puppy pose. In between a child's pose and a down dog. The only way the spine will move or the muscles will relax is if you allow them to. So notice where you're gripping and release. And now start to lift the head. Walk the hands towards the body. We're going to come to full hands and knees here. Whew, that was intense, right? For my shoulders are super tight right now. Okay, we're going to thread the needle, but first we're going to stretch the wrists. So take the top of the right hand and press it onto the mat. So we want a straight arm here. We want the fingertips pointing towards the body. You can even shift the hips back a little bit to feel that stretch. You might not need to go far if you're right-handed. You'll feel all that tightness right there, yeah. Go ahead and release and then just kind of slowly shake it. Take your hand and make sure it's pretty far in front of you, and then do the other side. So when you're supporting yourself with one hand, you want it to be in front of the shoulder. So now the left hand is on top. Left hand's probably not as bad, right? Yep, so you could start to shift the weight back and get more of a stretch and keep the arms straight. And then shift back to neutral so you can support yourself and roll the wrist around. All right, so I want you to sit on your heels for a moment before we go into our first down dog. If this isn't comfortable, put a blanket underneath your bum, or sit on something like a pillow or a block. Inhale, bring the arms up. You're going to take the left elbow and just press. So the left hand is dropping in the middle of the back, just dropping right down the middle of the back. Now you can stay here and keep stretching like this, you know, because this is a begin class, but you might have enough mobility to take your right hand and reach for those fingertips, maybe. If not, just go back to this. And if you have a strap or something in the future doing it, you can use a strap and grab onto that. Release. Grab your right elbow and let the right hand just drop down the middle of the back. Maybe just see where you are. Because usually the shoulders, you got it. So if you're able to clasp, keep lifting the chest. Yeah, good. I'm gonna take one more breath here. And then go ahead and release. Look at that. You wouldn't have, you're gonna grab your hands behind your back. Oh my God, I can do it on this side. Okay, back to hands and knees. We're gonna come up into our first down dog. Spread the fingers, press the palms into the floor. And then you want your wrists to be lined up with the front of your mat for alignment. Curl the toes under. Lift the hips up and back. Not worried about straight legs, not worried about heels touching the floor. Your feet are sitting bone width apart or hip width apart. You're pushing the floor away from you. Your ears are lined up with your inner arms. And so usually what we do with our first down dog is just pedal the feet. Pedal the feet so you can just kind of warm up the back of the legs. We've done a little bit of stretching for that so far, but kind of just whatever feels good. And then we're going to separate the feet even more, go into the edges of the mat here. And then we're going to start to walk the hands towards the body. Keep your feet separated and also keep your knees bent as much as you need to. Grab the elbows, opposite elbows, and just dangle here. Drop the head. Even if you think your neck is released, it probably isn't, so drop it even more. And you can even sway back and forth a little bit. Yes, the legs are doing a lot of work here. But remember, we want to keep the integrity of the back. So having straight legs is not relevant at all. Spine health is relevant. Go ahead and release the elbows, fingertips to the mat. Walk your feet towards each other. And then bring your hands all the way up to your thighs. We're not coming all the way up yet. Get a flat back, lengthen through the crown of your head. Even here, I still need to keep my knees bent, and my hamstrings are just usually chronically tight. And then all four corners of each foot anchored into the mat. We're gonna inhale with a flat back and come all the way up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Yeah, it's important to keep that straight back coming up rather than, you know, I can keep straight legs here for sure and then round my back coming up. But think about how often your back is already rounded throughout the day, you know? When you're sitting in a car, sitting at your desk, what you want to do is strengthen the legs, strengthen the back muscles, and come up that way. It's really important. So come to mountain pose at the front of your mat. Mountain pose, toes are pointing straight forward. Legs are strong. Don't lock out the knees, but in fact, engage the leg muscles. So pretend you're ripping the mat apart with your feet. And then from the navel through the crown of the head, energetically, you're just reaching up and reaching up. Your shoulder girdle is supporting you. So the muscles under the armpits, right here. They're called the serratus muscles. The muscles in between the shoulder blades, they're helping you lift. And as your chest lifts, your chin might want to lift too, so bring the chin down so it's parallel to the floor. You have a nice neutral neck. We're gonna breathe here and just kind of come back to center and recalibrate. And you're invited to close your eyes if you'd like more of a challenge of balancing your weight evenly. And go ahead and blink the eyes open. Keep the legs strong. We're going into upward facing hands. So palms are gonna face the ceiling. Shoulders will be back, and we're not gonna let them move. We're gonna keep them grounded as you just begin to reach your arms up nice and slow. This shouldn't be very easy. Imagine rotating the heads of the arms, the arm bones, in the ball and socket joint. So as you lift your hands up, your shoulders are pressing down. And if your arms start to bend, straighten them, press the shoulders down, and try to go a little further. Good. Try to go as far as you can. You'll know what your range of motion is. If your arms stop here, then that's your range of motion for your shoulders, and they're just tight, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to bring our awareness to the shoulders, use our breath to kind of let go of any tightness, and then maybe we can go a little further. Good. It's also a lot of work. Go ahead and keep them up. We're going to take a few more breaths here. Good. And keep the arms straight. Engage the abdominals. Who'd have thunk just standing here lifting our arms could be so much work? Take one more breath. Bring your palms together and your hands in front of your heart. Nice. Just a little bit more knowledge about yourself, right? Yeah. So we know that like the back of your shoulder for the one arm is really nice and open, but the front might be tight, right? It's just really getting to know your body. Release the arms, inhale, bring the arms up, interlace the fingers, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Just big, big breaths here. Inhale, gather up all that good oxygen. Interlace, exhale. Last time, breathe in. And exhale. Good. Let's separate the feet. So if you're at the front of your mat, you're going to turn sideways on your mat and separate your feet. Toes are going to be pointing forward. Keep your hands on your waist for this one. And then, so just like if you know your shoulders are tight, then usually it's the shoulder blade area that's not doing the job that they're supposed to. We need to strengthen it there. So the shoulders and the trapezius don't do all the work, because usually that's what it is, you know? And it could be something else. So lift the chest and keep the elbows pointing back for this. And feel the shoulder blades working, those wings on the upper part of your back. We're gonna inhale and lift the chest. And then we're gonna exhale and send the hips back as the heart comes forward. If your hamstrings or the back of your legs begin to stop you, then just bend your knees a little bit and see if you can get your fingertips to the floor with a flat back. For some of us, we have to bend the knees a lot to make that happen, and that's okay. We're just gonna kind of breathe. Once we stop, keep the legs strong. Inhale through the top of the head one more time. Nice long spine. And then see if you can exhale and drop the head. Keep the shoulders back. If your legs aren't strong, your lower back is not going to like this. So really give it the support it needs. Taking one more breath here. Now on your next inhale, just lift the head, just to catch your balance and even out your blood pressure. Bring your hands to your waist. Press the feet and inhale to come all the way up. Exhale, bring your feet together back to our mountain pose. Nice. All right, we need to stretch the front of the legs. Yeah. Find something that you can balance on. We're just going to do like the beginner part of a dancer pose. Full dancer pose is not a beginner pose. If it's in your practice, go ahead and do it. But for now, and you don't have to use the wall. If you feel like your balance is good today, it'll change all the time. Trust me. Don't use the wall, but I'm going to show you on the wall just so we know. It doesn't matter, whatever side you're on first, left or right leg, just, it doesn't matter. So your fingertips are going to support you. You're going to press the ball mound of the foot that is going to be supporting you. So standing, which will be the leg that's closest to the wall. Grab the outside leg, either grab the ankle if you can. If your shoulders allow it, grab the inside of the foot. If you had tight shoulders at that thing we did, you're not going to be able to do this. So just grab here. The knee is going to be pointing straight down and stay nice and tall. So someone's pulling a string through the top of your head and you have roots in your feet supporting you in the mat. You should and might be feeling a stretch in the front of your leg, yeah? Okay. If you feel comfortable starting to tip forward a little bit, go ahead. Not required. And if it's in your full practice to push the foot into the hands and balance, you know, this way, then you can do that. Otherwise, just stay here. You're still in dancer pose. Take one more breath or two or three. And then go ahead and release. And come back to mountain pose. So you might notice that the standing leg, like your glutes really have to work to help you balance on one leg. All right, so now that you saw me from the front, now I'm gonna do the other leg to stay balanced. So wherever you are, switch and grab the other ankle, inside or outside. To help you balance, find a focus point, what we call the drishti. And don't take your eyes off of it. A spot on the floor, something that is typically not too far in front of you. And use your breath to help you balance. The standing leg is very, very strong right now. And then either stay here and take a couple more breaths or start to tip forward, pushing your foot into your hand. You decide. And go ahead and release. And shake the legs out a little bit. Yeah. Separate the feet. We're going down in a squat. Inhale, bring the arms up. Do you feel it more on that other leg? Palms together, exhale, come down. So there are many reasons why we might not be able to do this, and that's okay. Lift your heels off the floor if you need to. Even support yourself with your hands on the floor if you need to. What we're trying to do is release the spine down. Yep. And let the organs hang as well. Is that cracking? I'm hearing some cracking going on over there.
Yes.
That's okay. So if you can have your elbows on the insides of the legs as you're doing your prayer hands, see if you can press the knees open. If not, that's okay. We're just going to take a couple breaths here and get familiar with this. Like when you're watching Netflix binges or the Hallmark Channel, sit on a block and sit with your knees above your hips and your body will love you for it. Go ahead and bring your hands behind you. Have a seat. You did it though. And then let's go ahead and lie down on our backs. So with a well-rounded practice, we have side bends, forward folds, balance poses, hip openers, and things like that. But we have not done a back bend yet, so we're going to do that here. We're going to do bridge pose. The knees stay bent. The heels, you turn a little bit sideways. So the heels are going to be, for bridge, as close to the body as possible, but keeping all parts of the feet on the floor. And then the feet will be sitting bone width apart or hip width apart. When we lift, the knees will have a tendency to open. We want to pretend that we're squeezing a block in between the thighs. Get your shoulder blades flat on the mat. And then lift, like tilt the pelvis forward a little bit, just to kind of prepare the back to create some space. And on your next inhale, you're going to lift the pelvis towards the ceiling. Press the inner edges of the feet, press the heels. And if you want, you can interlace the fingers under the back, try to walk the shoulders closer to each other, and maybe lift a little higher. Keep looking up at the ceiling. Don't move the neck around while you're in this position. Just take a few breaths here. And release. Release the fingers, let the pelvis come to the floor first, and then the spine will just kind of unwind. Good, take a breath here. We're gonna do that one more time. Back bends are life-changing. They are. And think about it again, if we're sitting with the body closed up all the time, like the front of the body in that, the heart needs to open, everything needs to open. We get closed off in so many ways, emotionally too. So this helps open that up. All right, go ahead and prepare. So bring your heels towards the body. Feel your feet planted on the mat. Shoulder blades are flat. Yep, looking up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lift the pelvis. Keep lifting, interlace your fingers under the back. Press the hips up a little bit more. Take one more breath. Press the inner edges of the feet. And lower. Good. Don't hug your knees yet. Just take a breath here. All right. Now you can bring your knees up to the chest one at a time. And rock back and forth. And then from here, we even have happy baby. So if you know, you can stay rocking back and forth, or you can grab the insides of the legs, or maybe even the bottoms of the feet, and press the knees towards the floor as you rock. Just one more really big hip opener. Bring the knees together, drop the feet. And then for our final posture, we'll come into our relaxation, our Shavasana, our corpse pose. It looks exactly how it sounds. Straighten the legs, palms up towards the ceiling. We stay in this pose for, 5 to 8 minutes minimum. Shoulder blades are flat, because if there's a little bump on the shirt or something, it's going to feel like a mountain 2 minutes in. Let the feet hang out to the sides. You can cover yourself with a blanket or cover the eyes. Closing the eyes is what comes next if you're comfortable doing that. And the idea here is that we're paying attention to how the body is after our practice. And we're allowing all of the hard work that we've done to absorb into the cells of our body and our mind. New patterns, new ideas. Soften the jaw and soften the throat. Feel the shoulders and the arms and the ribs sink into the floor. And each time you exhale, notice the navel just dropping to the back of the body. And feeling the hips and the legs sinking into the floor until every part of the body is completely letting go. And for the next few moments, when your mind begins to wander, bring it back to the breath. Thinking of the breath as your anchor. As you give yourself these next few moments of relaxation. Allow your inhalations to begin to deepen. And when you're ready, slowly wiggle the fingers and the toes and begin to bend the knees one at a time. And take your time and move slowly as you roll onto your right side, using your arm as a pillow and just coming into the fetal position and finding rest here. And on your next exhalation, go ahead and push yourself up to a seated position, whichever one is comfortable for you, and move slowly. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Thank you for letting me guide you today. The teacher in me honors and appreciates the teacher in you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Yes.
Hey,
Thank you, Janet.
You have it and something to do for a really tight neck right now. After I had that session with that guy, my neck is so tight. I'm not sure if there's a good stretch.
Yeah, I can email you a couple of things.
Okay. Yeah, it's
All
stiff.
right.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you, Jenny.
Lydia, yes, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.
I did. Bye.
Okay, bye.